On September 7th of this year, Ben Tinker of CNN wrote an article on a man who suffered from internet addiction named Van Cleef. Van Cleef stated he was playing online games for up to 80 hours a week. He saw a decreased relationship with not only his family, but the other relationships that he had built in his life as well. Van Cleef likened his addiction to that of alcoholism. Does this sound like a serious problem? I'd say so, especially since the internet is such an important part of today's society. I'd say we need to examine this problem and find the proper solution. As we all use the internet every day, it is important for us to know about the possibility of addiction. The increased use of internet over the years has made us more and more reliant, so we must know what a healthy level of internet usage is. Since internet addiction can be so detrimental to our lives, we must know what it looks like and what an acceptable level of usage is. We'll begin by looking at what internet addiction is and what it looks like, then we look at some of the causes, and finally I'll present a challenge to all of you involving your internet usage. First, let's talk about what internet addiction is and what it looks like. Now, when it comes to internet addiction, it is important to know what the term internet addiction means and what the symptoms of it are. Alice Walton of Forbes magazine on October 2nd, 2013 wrote, "A person with internet addiction will experience preoccupation with the internet or internet gaming, withdrawal symptoms when the internet is no longer present, tolerance, meaning they need more and more use of the internet to achieve the same high, loss of other interests, unsuccessful attempts to quit, and the use of internet to improve or escape dysphonic moods." Now, I don't know about you, but to me this sounds very similar to those problems of drug and alcohol. As internet addiction can reach heightened levels of other deadly addictions, such as drugs and alcohol, it is important for us to research this and find the proper solution to help those who suffer from this problem. In an article on helpguide.org by an unknown author on an unknown date, they state mental signs of internet addiction include losing track of time online, having trouble completing tasks at work or at home, isolation from family or friends, and feeling guilty or defensive about time online. Now, I know after reading that list, some of you might be freaking out thinking you're internet addicts. However, calm down. It is only whenever this becomes a repeated habit that it truly is a problem. We all have those days where the internet runs our life, which is fine. We just need to keep these in moderation and under control. Helpguide.org also explores the physical symptoms of internet addiction in their article, which include carpal tunnel syndrome, dry eyes or strained vision, back or neck aches, sleep disturbance, and pronounced weight loss or weight gain. Now, none of these are desirable traits, and I'm sure none of you want any of these traits, so it's important that we avoid getting addicted to the internet. If you've noticed any of these symptoms when it comes to your internet usage, I encourage you to sit down and examine your internet usage and see if you need to tone it back a little bit. Now that we have talked about what internet addiction is and what it looks like, let's talk about some of the causes. Now, when it comes to causes of internet addiction, there are two types: biological and social. According to an unknown author of the Times of India, on November 30, 2012, when talking about the neurological region for internet addiction and connecting it to other addictions, they state, "It seems this connection is not only essential for nicotine addiction, but for internet addiction as well. To be able to connect the problem of internet addiction with something that is so common in America, such as nicotine, helps people realize how widespread, common, and serious this problem is. This could also serve as a breakthrough in scientists to help find a solution to the problem." According to Jennifer Chait from Love No Recovery, on January 18, 2012, when discussing internet relationships, she states, "An internet-addicted individual would develop highly emotional attachments to online pals or even online dating." She then goes on to state that online relationships are attractive to some because it seems less risky than talking to them face-to-face. Now, today's society has been characterized as having less social skills than previous generations. So therefore, it is important for us to have the social skills to talk with people face-to-face, and the internet is hindering this ability. Now, the internet can be used to catch up with old friends or even meet new people. However, it must be used in moderation and not to overcome one of our insecurities of talking to people face-to-face. Now that we see some of the causes, let's see what action can be taken about this problem. Now, it wouldn't be right for me to sit up here and say, everyone stop using the internet. That would not be practical, and that wouldn't help out, because the internet is such an important part of today's society. So therefore, I hope to discuss a few practical reasons, which are highlighted in HelpGuide.org's article. The first piece of advice they give us is to keep a log of when we are on the internet, so therefore we can sit down at the end of the day and see how much time we truly spent. They also encourage us to set out certain times throughout the day that we're going to use the internet and not allow ourselves to go over this. The final piece of advice they give us is to replace our internet usage with healthy activities such as exercise. Now, I know all of you might not be internet addicts. However, I encourage you to put one of these into your internet usage life, because you can discover a life outside the internet that you never really knew truly existed. Now, if your internet usage does get out of hand, it might be necessary for you to get help from an outside source. Jennifer Chait highlights this in her article, as she says, "Your best support may come from your personal doctor, as he or she may be able to pinpoint exactly why you become addicted, and they can offer some support." She also goes on to say that Internet Alcoholics Anonymous offers both online and offline treatments. Now, when someone gets addicted, they think there's no way out and there's no one to help. However, with internet addicts, there's always help, and you can always get out of it. If you know anyone who suffers from the symptoms I've stated previously, or you personally do, I encourage you to get that person help or yourself help. I also challenge all of you to sit down and examine your internet usage and make sure it is at a healthy level. By making sure our internet usage is at an acceptable level, we live much more enjoyable lives. After examining what internet addiction is, what it looks like, what some of the causes of it are, and what we can do about it, I hope you realize just how dangerous the internet can be if you don't get it under control and use it at an acceptable level. Now back to the story I talked about in the beginning of the speech about Van Cleve. He went on to state, alcoholics can stay out of bars and restaurants to serve booze, but an internet addiction is like an eating disorder. Whether we like it or not, the internet is always going to be part of our life. We're going to need it for our jobs, for our school, for a number of things. So therefore it's important that we know how to use it at an acceptable level that will not damage our lives.